What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about something quite serious. If you are triggered, and this is a real trigger warning, by sexual harassment or workplace harassment, you really shouldn't be watching this. It is a big news story in the space, and it's really bad. But today we're going to be talking about Activision Blizzard. Now, almost all of you will have played an Activision or a Blizzard game. I mean, they are pervasive. Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Diablo. I mean, they're very, very popular. I love some Activision Blizzard games. Diablo is one of my first loves when it comes to gaming. And it's really bad to hear all of this stuff about Activision, and we're going to go over it. But I have to say, I wasn't particularly shocked, as I've heard whispers. Anybody who's been in this community for a while has heard whispers or rumors from ex-employees. I didn't think it was quite this bad. I didn't know exact details, but it's pretty awful. We're going to jump right into it here. We're going to go through the facts one at a time. And just a quick warning, there is also mention of suicide here. So I'm really sorry in advance, but we do need to discuss this. It's important, and it's important in our space, the gaming space. So Activision Blizzard sued over frat boy culture. Frat boy culture is a very, very generous way to put this. I want to start by saying that the lawsuit is not a class action lawsuit by ex-employees or anything like that, where it's employees' word versus company. This is done after an investigation by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. It's the government suing the company for these awful, awful practices. It's the government doing this because this is true. This is real. An investigation has found that it's real, and it needs to be sorted. So a 2-year investigation took place by a state agency and found that the company discriminated against female employees in terms and conditions of employment, including compensation, so salary, assignment, promotion, and termination. Company leadership consistently failed to take steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, the agency said. So this is a big deal, but let's describe some of the stuff that was going on. Female employees make up 20% of the company and are subjected to pervasive frat boy workplace culture, including things like cube crawls, where male employees would drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. That is insane. That is the meme of the guy who crawls along on his hands and knees to look up skirts and go, yes. That meme, they were doing it in real life. This is sexual harassment of the highest order. This is really, really bad. You are one step away from full-blown sexual assault here, and we really, really shouldn't be talking about this as frat boy culture, and more talking about it as illegal sexual harassment. But the way it's being framed as frat boy culture, I think, is far, far too generous. Apparently, male employees were playing video games during the workday while making female employees do their work for them. They were engaging in sexual banter without consent with female employees and joking openly about rape, among other things. Female employees were held back from promotion due to becoming pregnant or the possibility of becoming pregnant. They were criticized for leaving to pick up children. You know, they noted on the World of Warcraft team that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about rape, and otherwise engage in demeaning behavior. There is so much to this. I will link the reports down below, but this is a real, serious problem. This is a serious problem, and it is outright not acceptable, right? Like this should be condemned across the industry, and it should not have taken 2 years of investigation by a state agency to catch this and punish this. But how did Activision Blizzard respond? Because surely, if you're this company and your lower level employees are doing this, you as management would be outraged, furious, upset. No, they denied it. They denied it outright. So the first thing that an Activision Blizzard spokesperson said about the lawsuit is, we value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity for everyone. There is no place in our company or industry, or any industry, for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. We take every allegation seriously, blah, blah, blah. Then they go, the DFEH, includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. And then they accuse the investigation of being biased and of not doing good faith negotiations with Blizzard. This is an absolute hit piece on the accusation overall. It's a hit piece on the investigation, and it's absolute nonsense because very, very shortly after, the co-founder and previous CEO of Activision Blizzard, Chris Metzen, had this to say: "We failed and I'm sorry. To all of you at Blizzard, those I know and those I've never met, I offer you my very deepest apologies. I played in a for the part I played in a culture that fostered harassment, inequality, and indifference. There is no excuse. We failed too many people. So you denied it outright, and then your ex-CEO and co-founder is like, yeah, it's true. It's true. It's all true, and I'm sorry. I never spoke up for fear of reprisal. I didn't trust HR. Like, of course they didn't, because HR was part of the culture. It's awful. By the way, my genuine belief is that HR should be an agency provided to companies that pay the government for that service, and it's a government service for your business. There should be, the HR should not be answerable to the higher-ups and management at the company that they're working HR for. Human resources, the people who deal with complaints and allegations, should not be beholden to the employers who might be the people that are being complained or allegated against. It should be a government agency that is given to businesses, that is sold to businesses, when businesses are big enough to require HR, that makes sure everything is there. HR is not there to protect the worker. It's there to protect the company. Always has been, always will be. You need unions and you need government. Right? And so you could say, oh, Chris Metzen, what a great apology. He apologized for his part. He's saying it's not enough to say, I see you and I hear you. We're going to ask, we're going to work on it. And then we've got the current CEO sending out an internal email that reads the following. I personally have a lot of emotions coming out of yesterday. This is Jab, right? Like, we'll get to him. And I know you do too. The allegations and the hurt of current and former employees are extremely troubling. I know that many of you would like to receive more clarity. While I can't comment on specifics of the cases, it's an open investigation. What I can say is that behavior detailed in the allegations is completely unacceptable. And then he's saying it's all unacceptable, stepping back. So this is great. I disdain bro culture and have spent my entire career fighting against it, right? He's trying to claim that he has always fought against this kind of culture. Always. And here is where it gets really bad, because this kind of apology would work if he had always been against this kind of thing. He says they're sorry and they'll do better, right? And that he never participated in this and he disdains this kind of culture. Well, let me show you a panel from BlizzCon 2010, an open Q&A. This is a very interesting question on this open Q&A. Let's have a listen.
Xantia from Kieran Tor. I love what you guys done with Little Crest. I love the fact that you have a lot of very strong female characters. However, I was wondering if we could have some that don't look like they've stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog.
So you hear women cheering and then men booing, because of course you do.
What do you mean?
So I'd like to point out the guy who said he disdains bro culture and has fought it his entire career is this guy on the left. Right? This guy on the left right here is the guy who wrote that email, the current CEO of Activision Blizzard, and says, I disdain bro culture and I have spent my entire career fighting against it. Now watch what he does when this question is asked. Women cheer, men boo. Look at him. He's smiling with disdain and then turns to the panel. Let's see what the panel has to say about that question. So whispered to him what to say.
What do you mean?
Wait.
Which catalog would you like them to step out of?
Mocking her. She's awkwardly laughing because obviously she's intimidated in this situation.
Right. So we feel you, and we want to vary our female characters, absolutely. So yeah, we'll pick different catalogs.
Hey, Alex, what catalog is that Tauren female coming out of?
You see? The guy joining in on the banter, the guy joining in on mocking a woman who asked a perfectly reasonable question about the over-sexualization of women in video games. Yeah? The guy who's disdained bro culture his entire career. You see him joining in with this comment?
Not one you'd read.
Yeah. Sexy cow business.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Some sort of agricultural
because this is a short subject. This is a short video. That's how it is. This is a short subject because you should throw out the whole goddamn team. That CEO should step down. He should step down. Right? Everybody who was sitting on that panel should lose their job. If you were on that panel, you don't disdain bro culture. You were clearly part of it. Every single person sitting there should lose their job. Every single person promoted into the places that are emptied should be women. Make it so the women are in charge, and then they can't have that culture anymore if you put women in positions of power. And it's about time we put women in positions of power in that situation so that they can fight against that company culture. If you really want to purge that company culture, what you need to do is put women in the positions that allow them to. Put them in the managerial positions and let them do it. These people, this whole squad of people, throw them away. Throw them in the bin. This group of people, if they're making games, I don't want to play them, right? So I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mean it. I love Diablo. I love Diablo, right? I love it. If this doesn't happen, I'm boycotting Diablo 4. I won't stream. As a streamer, I won't stream a Blizzard game ever again in my career unless they sort this. Just like I said with the Hearthstone thing. The real pressure from the Hearthstone thing came from the fans and the content creators. And we need to put that same kind of pressure again. Because the Hearthstone thing, we got an apology. It was late and it was half-assed, but we got that apology saying we shouldn't have banned the player. You now need to get these guys to step down, be gone. We don't want to buy games from a company that contains these people. These people should not be in a company if we're going to buy their games, play their games, promote their games. So as a streamer, I am saying, you will never see me streaming a Blizzard Activision game again as long as this fucker is CEO. As long as this slimy, greasy, nasty-ass, ugly-ass, fucking square-head-ass looking moron who decided that frat boy culture was acceptable probably because he can't get any because he's ugly as hell. All right? Like, let's be real. He's just Zeta as fuck, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. He's just a sad, pathetic frat boy man, like, wishing he was cool back when he was at university and now trying to get that in his position of power at work. Asmongold dropped ship to FF14. Shout out to Asmongold. Killing World of Warcraft. They're just dead on Twitch. FF14 slaying it now. But yeah, that's it. Activision is a trash garbage company and shouldn't exist. This is every woman in this industry. Like, I really need to add this note. This is every single woman I have spoken to in this industry, from content creators to community managers to coders to game developers to artists to everybody. Every single woman in this industry has a story like this. Every single one of them. They've all faced this kind of frat culture in some way or form, whether it's being called not attractive enough to be in the job/creative position they're in, or whether it's over-sexualization despite the fact that they don't want to be sexualized, or whether it's sexual harassment in the workplace. These things are all over the gaming community. Frat boy culture, really, gamer bro culture exists. And I mean that. I'm not going to name any names. But I'm going to tell you this. When I went to Germany for Gamescom, the first and second time, right, I was invited out by people at huge companies and huge content creators, right? Because I was helping out at the YouTube booth at Gamescom. So I met a lot of company people and I met a lot of huge content creators who just make me look pathetic, like especially the Spanish and German content creators, right? And they invited me out to a very specific club every single night. Both times I went to Gamescom. That club was a strip club on the ground floor, lap dances on the first floor, hookers on the second floor, third floor had like BDSM, fourth floor had like orgies. It was like going up in the pay for sex like tiers. The higher you went, the weirder shit got. And they were all inviting me out there. And I go, I've got a wife. And they're like, oh, well, she's not here. She'll never know. And that's the culture. That's the culture. Right? I know I'm going on a tangent here, but that's the gamer bro culture. That's the culture. These company guys and these streamers and people that I know who are married. I know them. I know they are married and they were going. Right? Like, they were going every night. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to torpedo myself in this industry. I mean, saying this is enough. Saying this is enough to put me, like, at risk of people trying to get revenge. And there are huge names that could just crush me on a business level. On the business side of YouTube and stuff, I could be fucked. So it's really fucking bad. It's so disrespectful. When the guy said about my wife, she'll never know, I just looked him dead in the eyes and I said, but I will. I'll know. Like, who cares if she ever finds out? I'll know. It's very simple. I will know. So there is a culture here. We saw Gamergate. We saw all of this shit. This culture exists, and it is disgusting. It's disgusting.